What's up, folks? Welcome back to Tactical Tortoise. My name is Trevi, and today we're starting a new video series, Basic Tactics. In this series, I'm going to be doing some super short videos on some super quick things that you can do to immediately up your skill level in your games of Warhammer 40k. And in this very first video, we're going to be talking about one of the first stages of a 40k game, and crucially, one of the most important, and that is the deployment step. As a little bit of a refresher, deployment in 9th edition is taken in turns, with each player placing one unit wholly within their deployment zone, unless that unit has an ability to place elsewhere on the table outside their deployment zone, starting with the defender. So with that, let's deploy into the video. First off, lead with the obvious. If you have units that are inconsequential or just going to be deployed behind a wall to keep them safe, you might as well start with them since it doesn't really give up any information to your opponent. You can use them to buy time until your opponent puts their best stuff down, and units like characters are great for this since your opponent can't usually attack them because of the Lookout Sir rule, so your opponent can't really capitalize on their position. Next one, avoid indecent exposure. This one seems super obvious, but I see a lot of people ignoring it. But it's just that you should remember to put your fragile or important units behind obscuring terrain. Units like this Last Cannon Devastator squad can pack a punch, but doesn't really take a hit back, so getting them blown up if you go second is an easy way to lose important pieces quickly. Next up, remember to make a hole. Give yourself enough space to put your important units where they need to be in auras or behind obscuring terrain. A misplaced unit that can be seen or can't fit into the position it needs to on turn 1 can be game-breaking. So make sure to measure when placing the surrounding units or declare your intent if your models are very fiddly and have a tough time standing next to each other. Now remember, if you're enjoying the tactics content so far, why not drop a like on the video, maybe a subscribe on the channel to see future tactics videos? It really helps out and I appreciate it. Always remember to save the best for last. If you have important units that require careful positioning, try to save them until the end of your deployment phase to limit your opponent's ability to react to their placement. Use your own last placers to capitalize on any deployments that your opponent made, like important units that you can get line of sight on. Now let's talk about some more advanced stuff, like fighting for no man's land. Usually there isn't much of a benefit to playing as the defender who deploys the first unit, but if you and your opponent both have units that can start outside of your deployment zones ahead of your army, choosing to be the defender to place your forward deploying units first to screen out enemies can be crucial at blocking enemy deep strikes or preventing them from placing optimally. Units like Scouts and Striking Scorpions that have forward deploying abilities like Concealed Positions, with whichever unit is placing first, screening out the enemy unit from placing within 9 inches of them due to the restrictions of their ability. This can definitely limit a lot of alpha strikes if your opponent was expecting to use that unit to go first and hammer you hard on the top of the first turn. Now, if you like this tactics content and you want to support the channel and get even more exclusive tactics videos, I want to throw a quick shout out to the Tactical Tortoise YouTube membership and Patreon page. You can find it at patreon.com/tacticaltortoise, where you can find the advanced tactics series of 40k deep dive videos, where we get really deep into 40k tactics concepts. All right, back to it. Plug over. Now, piggybacking off the last point, always remember to gauge your opponent's threat ranges. Ask your opponent before the game begins how far their units can move, shoot, and charge, and if they have any special turn 1 abilities like turn 1 deep strikes or double move. And keep those in mind in case they go first. No sense in giving your opponent an easy target or your most valuable units to charge if you don't have to. So remember to deploy out of those threat ranges or screen them out with your cheaper units if you need to. Now last but not least, remember redeployments. Don't overcommit to a plan if your opponent has redeployment abilities like Lord of Deceit from Space Marines or Phantasm from the Aldari Codex. While there is a benefit to making them use those abilities, there's no sense in putting yourself in a position where they can muck up your own positioning if they do. So ask your opponent before the game if they have any redeployment abilities like that, and if they do, don't fully commit to alpha striking them if they can escape by using them. And that's it. That's all the basic tactics we have to talk about today for the deployment phase. If you enjoyed this video, remember to stay tuned for the channel for a couple other basic tactics videos. Really appreciate everyone watching it, and I appreciate everyone who supports the channel over on Patreon, as well as YouTube channel members and Twitch subscribers, everyone who helps keeps the lights on over here at the Tactical Tortoise HQ. Remember to keep it classy, folks, and have happy wargaming.